Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Alrighty, let's get that pause. Oh, did I miss pause? Yep. That button's the pause button. Alrighty. Hey Mark. Hey J-Rod. Happy Thursday. Sorry I missed you last week. This has not been the summer I wanted it to be. My apologies. Scott Baio's career? I'm gonna have to Google that one now. Let's see who that is. Ah, Happy Days, and that was it. Did a couple other things. Okay. So hopefully the recording from last time worked out, wasn't too terrible. Again, we're using a different example, but that should be okay. For using the expression language and the JSTL packages. These are phenomenal. So we'll talk about Project 4 tonight. Sorry, we didn't get that solution last week. And then we'll talk about the final project as well. I think we talked about it in that same video. I lose my mind here. So if not, that's okay. I know we're short a little bit of time here, so I'm going to help you out with some of the parts of the final project. I've got some examples for all of the image processing that we need to do, so that'll make things a little easier for you in terms of what we need to accomplish there for that final project, because we have 3 more weeks, right? So we're at 7:29, we'll have 8:05, 8:12, and then on 8:19 we're going to get together and present our final projects. We'll get together on Zoom instead of here on Twitch, and we can all take turns talking, and it'll be your folks' turn to talk, not mine. So we are getting our way through the material. We're going to finish up most of the JSP stuff that we need. There's a little bit more with sessions and cookies we're going to talk about next week. That's a little bit later. And then the DOM, AJAX, and frameworks night is also a little bit later. Again, a lot of this DOM stuff, if you had taken the web programming course, you're probably very familiar with, but it wasn't a prereq. So I just want to show you a couple things there. Some fun stuff we can do with AJAX. We're just going to look at some basic examples, what we can do with asynchronous JavaScript calls, which is a lot of fun. And then we're just going to talk about a framework. We're not going to actually try and launch one and run any projects through the framework. So there's a lot of them. And if we can help it, we try not to teach this is the framework to use, because frameworks change. But like the fundamentals here are how frameworks are built. So learning the fundamentals is going to be very helpful. All right, and that should be it. So you want to start with Project 4. Let me fire up NetBeans here. And we'll do a little recipe servlet where you can modify the recipe itself. Excuse me. All right, let me pull up that assignment here. And I'm sorry, I don't have the scores, and I'm doing terrible this summer. So you can assume your self-assessment score is good. I think that's the safe assumption here. So as you scored yourself using that rubric, that should be the score that you'll be receiving. I need to go and punch those in, give them a look over. All right. So we're just going to convert recipes from original quantities to other quantities. So we're going to write a class for recipe that has the list of ingredients, and then the ingredient class has attributes for quantity, measure, and name. Right, so quantity is the numeric portion here. The measure is probably a string, and the name is a string here. We'll have an option for what do we want to do with those values. And then that single recipe can just be hard-coded. That's perfectly fine. Ideally, we'd have like some sort of backing, like a database back with lots of recipes in there, but that's okay. Right now we're just, if we can get one working hard-coded, hooking it up to a database behind the scenes actually won't be too bad, like we'll see tonight. So let's talk about Project 4. In 2454 is Project 4. Tomcat should be in good shape. Oh yeah, small crowd tonight. That's all right. It's been one of those summers. All right. So we're going to use a page here. Oh, that's right. So it's giving me the HTML instead of a JSP. That's fine. We can rename this one here. Rename JSP. No. Goodness. It didn't change the type. That was wrong. All right, never mind. Delete that one and re-add it. Add a new JSP. All right, there we go. That looks a little nicer here. And then let's add a new package. This will be project 4. And then here we can add our servlet. Project 4. Add information. All right. Our project 4 servlet. I think how it thinks a servlet is misspelled. All right. And we just want to make sure this will actually run here. I should start up my Tomcat server here. Here we go. Tomcat's starting up. This is the wrong browser. Go back to Firefox, please. All right, let me try that one more time. Let me start it with Firefox. It'll be a little cleaner here. And we get the hello world. Right? That is not the servlet. Hello world is our JSP. Because that's the index page. Right? So if I want the project 4 servlet, I'm going to go to project 4. Now we get the servlet, project 4. Yep. Oh my goodness. I just officially became a bionic man on Tuesday. I've got this really cool insulin pump that's hooked up to me now with some tubing. And it has its own set of beeps and alerts and things that it's a little different than what I'm used to. So I think I'm fine, though. I don't think I need to do anything with that beep. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. A nice little toy. And thank you to insurance. It did not cost me the out-of-pocket cost. That little device is pricey, thanks to, American healthcare. All right, so our servlet launches, our JSP launches, things are looking halfway decent here. So what we're going to do then in our package, we're going to add that class. So this will be our ingredient class. Right, and then ingredient had a double for quantity, a string for measure, and a string for name. So like 3 tablespoons butter, right? Anything we want there. And then we're going to make this a nice little Java bean, make life work nice for us. We'll have a constructor, takes all the attributes. We'll add a no argument constructor. We can call this with, 0, empty string, and empty string. So just call this one, so set them to, they're worthless defaults, but they're defaults. Because if you don't give strings values, they're null, and nulls are bad. Remember, null reference exceptions are evil. They will crash things. All right, and then we're going to insert our getters for everything, and then we're going to insert setters for everything. Right? There we go. Now, we've got ingredient, so now I can make a bunch of ingredients. Then I'm going to make the recipe class. So a recipe, then, is a list of ingredients and probably the directions. I didn't actually explicitly ask for the directions because that could have been hard-coded, but I'm going to add a directions field here. String for directions, and then a private, we'll do array list of type ingredient. Ingredient, there we go. Okay, so direction, probably that's plural, right? And this is ingredients. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll insert our code here. We'll add our constructor. We'll add, we got to add the import for array list here. Yes, please, NetBeans. Thank you. We'll add a no argument constructor. So in this case, that array list of ingredients, oops, that doesn't look right. That was weird. Oh, because I didn't have the import yet. It was confused. That's why. All right, so we'll call this, and it just needs an empty string for directions, and then it needs a new array list of type ingredient. So if you don't give me an array list, right, I need to instantiate that instance here so I have it. Again, we could add other cool methods like add ingredient or remove ingredient, but we probably don't need to get that complex, right? We just want some basic set, not a logger, sorry, just a basic set and get. Usually it's a little bit bad form to return these objects because then they're going to have full access to them. We're going to feel a little bit bad about that, but again, we're just using it here in our code. We're not really letting anyone else use this. So we know that it's kind of a bad thing, and we'll just be careful about it. Because if you just return an array list reference, then they can go add and subtract from it any time they want. Essentially, that's all we're doing anyway, but it gives them full access to add and remove things outside of the recipe class itself. All right, so we got a recipe. Okay. And we don't need any of that nonsense either. That's fine. And we're not going to send anything here, right? We're going to use all of the JSP itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new recipe. So we'll make a recipe. What should we make? Let's do clam chowder. Actually, I don't make my own clam chowder. What do I make? How about pancakes? Equals a new recipe. Okay, and then we can either give it the string for directions and an array list for ingredients, or then we can go set them after. Either way is fine. So maybe we'll do that first. Maybe we'll do an array list of type ingredient for ingredients. New array list of type ingredient. Okay, and then we can add a bunch of ingredients. So the first thing a pancake mix needs, a new ingredient, it needs the quantity. So when I make my pancakes, I use 5 cups of flour. Okay, and then we add 5 tablespoons, SP, right? Tablespoons of butter. We add 5, I don't know, large eggs. We add, is it 5 cups of milk? Might be 5 cups of milk. Might be 5 cups of milk. I think it is. Oh, that's right. No, it's buttermilk. It's not 5 cups. Hang on. I have to steal this recipe here. They're called truck stop pancakes. When I make pancakes for my children, there's 8 of us all together, so I need to make a large batch here. 5 eggs. Oh, 6 butter. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there's 5 cups of buttermilk. Okay. 5 cups flour. There we go. And on and on and on. Again, you don't need the rest of the ingredients, right? You know, I'll even cite my source here, right? Check this out. For the rest. Okay. We give it the recipe. Mix the dry stuff first. Mix all the wet stuff separate, then mix. That's essentially what you do. Then mix, then cook. And then we'll add the ingredients. That's my recipe. Okay. Only added to, never read. That's fine. Ingredients. There we go. I should probably get tabbed in a little. Right, that's my recipe. So we'll have this bunch of ingredients, and then we're going to send that through to the JSP. Right, so we're going to take our response And we want to, oh my goodness. Let me go we get the servlet context. Get servlet context, servlet get servlet context dot get request dispatcher. For a given string path is going to be, this is our views, oh my goodness, recipe. And then we'll add that path, and then we're going to forward the request and the response. Right, so we need a web page, we need a views folder, and inside of that we're going to add our JSP for recipe. This is recipe page. Recipe. All right, we okay so far? So now, oh, before we finish that, right, we need to attach that attribute, right? So we're going to take our request and we're going to set the attribute of recipe. We're going to set it to the recipe object. So I can go get it out after. Oh, I'm sorry, mine is pancakes. So in the JSP, I can go ask for this recipe object, and I'm going to get pancakes, the recipe object. Okay? All right, now we'll come over to our recipe JSP. And in here, right, if we want to use some of this JSTL stuff, we add the tag library. Say, hey, I want to use the core library here, which is awesome. And then we're going to make a table. Yes, table's probably the, I don't know. Table's probably the right way to do that. No, we'll do the table for the ingredients, maybe. Or maybe that can just be one per line. I don't know. It might not need that whole table look here. So how about we say, we take the direction. So we need that recipe object. So we're going to get our recipe object out. So we need, C. Nope. C. That shouldn't, that's all going to be there, right? Want to get it out. Now let's go through the list here. We'll do C for each. We're going to take the variable name is going to be ingredient, and we're going to get that from $, that is recipe, right? That dot, and we call that ingredients. For each ingredient in the recipe ingredients, right? Then we can spit out here, I don't know, the ingredient dot the quantity yeah, I don't know, it might look funny in the table. We'll try it in the table just for fun. So then we'll have this inside. We do our table header, and we'll have our table rows. We'll have, this is going to be the quantity. Oh, no, sorry, that's just a table header. That's what I wanted here. Let's add our table row. There we go. Our table header then is quantity. Table header. No, I don't want that. Go away. So quantity, measure, and name. Measure and name. Great. And then for each one of these, then we're going to add a table row. And then each of these can be a table data. Right, my ingredient quantity, my ingredient measure, and my ingredient name. Like 4 cups flour, or 5 cups flour. We should be able to get that out. Okay, and then we end the table. And then we want, here's our directions, right? It's going to be our recipe.directions. I'll see if we can get that out here. All right, let's see if that'll build for us. We're going to go to the project for servlet. Oh, goodness. Views recipe. Didn't like it there. Views. Did I spell it wrong? Recipe. No, I think I spelled it right. This is in the right location. Let's double check. Project 4 has web, views, recipe. Yeah, should be there. Views recipe. Why is it not finding our recipe JSP? All right, it did build okay. Not gonna get any errors. Yeah, that all looks fine. Let's try building it one more time. Use clean and build. What was that? Source value 7. Okay, that should be fine. All right, one more time. Let's see if we can get our still not found. For views recipe. Oh dear. Why is it not finding it? Serializable. The servlet? Or the JSP? Oh, the class. Oh, for my little bean class? I mean, it's just not even finding recipe right now. Yeah, we'll do that for the classes. Thank you. Implements serializable. There we go. And we'll do that for our recipe as well. Yeah. Thank you. World. Yeah, still not finding our JSP. Use JSP. My library's here. I'm gonna add our JSTL. Let's add the JSTL library. That might make it a little happier. World. Aha! Alright, so now the recipe page loads. Okay, there we go. So that was adding the library, right, the JSTL library to the project. Thank you. I always miss all these steps. Alright, so then I want to go back to the project for servlet. Oh! I'm missing something in my path here. What am I doing wrong with my path? Let's see. Yeah, no, views, that should be fine. Oh, recipe.jsp. I should probably name the right file there. How did I not? Recipe's not available because it's recipe.jsp. There we go, folks. Hey! All right, so I get 5 cups flour, 5 tablespoons butter, mix the dry stuff, mix the wet stuff, mix, cook. Awesome. So now we need to add the piece that lets me resize this, right? Let's go add a little form. And again, I'm a big fan of copy pasting stuff. I don't like having to do forms by hand because I just don't like to. All right, so we want this to be project 4/project 4. And this can probably just be a get. We don't need to actually post anything here. So we want the, what do we call that? To change the, change number of servings. There we go. And this will be the quantity, or no, serving, I don't know, quantity adjustment. I don't know what we want to call it. Multiplier. How about a multiplier, right? That's all we need. And that is actually a just servings. No, so that's not a text one. We want that to be an option list, right? I'll use options. Go grab an option here. All right, so that is, oh goodness. Label is fine, and then we want to do a select name equals multiplier, and then an option value equals, we'll do 0.25, right? And then that's 1/4 option. Wow, that was funny. Sure, 0.25, that's 1/4, a half, oops, 0.5, just 1, right? It's just 1, that one's easy. And then double, and triple, and quadruple. Double, triple, right? Change these ones. There we go. All right, so that should get the multiplier. Right, and it should adjust servings. Servings. Oh, goodness. All right. So let's see if that'll adjust the servings for us there. And we're not doing anything with it yet. We just want to make sure that it shows up for us. So project 4. All right, change number of servings. Adjust, and now we get a multiplier. Multiplier. Great. Now we should probably leave that at the same option it was before. Right, so we'll have to do a little bit of work there. But now in our servlet, we can go get that out. So we want to get the request dot get oh my goodness. Get parameter of the multiplier. Oops, quotes there, multiplier. So we can have, this is a string for multiplier. We're going to get the multiplier, right? And then we need to see if it exists. So if the multiplier does not equal null, right? And multiplier does not equal an empty string, then we're good to go. Right? If that's the case, then we can go and get another, well, let's do a double for multiply by. We'll start off at 1 because that makes life easy. So if we have a multiplier, we'll set that to double.parseDouble, a multiplier. So if they gave me 0.25, right, or whatever it was, we'll go set that. Then what we can do with this list of ingredients is we're going to say for ingredient in, right? We're going to take ingredient in ingredients. Make ingredient dot set quantity. Nope, I hate that set. That set is never helpful. Set quantity to the ingredient dot get quantity times the multiply by. That's going to go multiply that factor. Right, and if it's 1, it's 1. Great. And equals. All right, so if it does not equal null and it does not equal empty, then we're good to go set it. Give that a shot. So we should be able to change our factor here really quickly. Oops, we'll put that back to 1 here. So 5 of each, right? If I want to go to a quarter, I get a quarter of all those, right? Half, I get half of all those. 1, right? So now the only thing that's not working here is the option isn't giving us the correct value here now. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's just clean this up, make it be a little prettier here, and we'll have a private double for multiplier, or current multiplier. Multiplier. And we'll set that to 1, right? So we need a double for current multiplier. And then my this.current multiplier equals the current multiplier. So if you don't tell me, I'm going to assume it's 1, right? And then we'll add the sets and gets for it. Insert my set for multiplier. And insert the get for multiplier. And give it a little format. All right, so multiplier is good there. But now when I make the recipe, then because I'm using this version here, right, with this constructor, I need to give it that multiplier, which is fine. I give it the multiply by. And it's good to go. So now we're going to attach that there. So now in the JSP, we can go find the option here, and we can say which one should be selected, which is a little bit obnoxious. To set that one there, but that's okay. So we'll say, oh goodness, I'm just going to go Google that. So 1 second. So HTML option set selected. I think it's just selected equals true, right? Just an app, just do that. I just want to do it nice and easy. Oh, let's look JSP set option list. Maybe there's a nice, easy way to do it. Let's see. Select. Oh, I could pick the one. Why am I not seeing it here? All right, forget the JSP thing. Set the selected option. I don't want to do it with jQuery, I just want to set it. Yeah, okay, select. We just say selected. That's all it is. Okay. All right. So we can just add that in here with an if, right? So we can say, see if recipe dot multiplier 0.25 selected. And my if, oh goodness, the if the multiplier there equals 0.25. Nope. Oh, goodness. Let's try that again. So see if... let's find a better example here. Test equals, there we go. Can we do that? 0.25. Quotes. But the whole test is quoted? The whole test is quoted, okay. All right, that ought to do it for us. We'll see. So if it's 0.5, if it's a 1, if it's a 2, if it's a 3, and if it's a 4. All right, see if we can get that little format. All right, that's a little ugly. Oh, I have too many. No, I don't. Okay. That just looks funny. That should be okay. Oh, no, I need to close that option one there. There we go. All right, let's give that a try. All that to make it look a little prettier. Sorry. Maybe we could have just said what the current multiplier was. Oh, no. Multiplier. The recipe, line 34. Recipe.multiplier. Is it not multiplier? Did I spell it wrong? What do we do in recipe? Current multiplier. Oh, goodness. Current multiplier. Current multiplier. Current multiplier. Oh, it didn't actually fix anything for us, though, did it? No, it's not. None of those are showing as selected. Our test is no good. Where do we have our test? Oh, it's all inside those ones. Syntax is hard, folks. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make this look prettier. I think it was working beforehand. All right, let's try that. Three, 4, quarter, half. All right, I think it's staying. It's staying? Now, if we give it a funny multiplier like 10, though, that doesn't exist in the option list, but it still works up here. Isn't that silly? Well, maybe that's a little funny, but all right, I think that's working. So let's go back to like just to 1. And if we view our page source, we should see. Oh, it doesn't even show 1 is selected, but it's doing it. That's interesting. Oh, too many table headers there. That one was ugly. There we go. Try and clean that up a little bit. Half, quarter. All right, it's keeping it, even though it's not showing that it's doing the selected thing, but it's doing it. Oh, there it goes. Now selected. All right, so we got the selected one. Life looks pretty good. Change number of servers, not servers. Oh, goodness. Change number of servings. All right, what do you folks think? Did we hit everything we needed to do here? Option list. Our recipe is hard-coded, but we should be able to do that sort of thing here. So the recipe class, our ingredient class, the servlet displays the default recipe, and allows for changing the quantity, quarter, a half, 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. And again, you didn't need to use the JSTL stuff, but this is easier than doing it the slower way, right? Trying to do our own little Java code tags in here. There's nothing wrong with doing the code tags and doing our own code blocks and things like that, right? But I think the JSTL is easier now that we've seen that. So if you got it done before last week and you hadn't seen it yet, yours probably had all the code blocks, and that's okay. Right? Nothing wrong with that at all. But this way works just a little nicer, right? And then if we just go right to the view, right, we go to use recipe JSP, it doesn't crash, which is nice, right? Because those blocks are automatically doing that checking for us. If it's null, we just get nothing. Nothing shows up at all, which is kind of cool. But then when we go back, the servlet's going to load that recipe for us, right? So we can do our multiplication. All right, awesome. All right, so it's almost 7. Do you folks want to take a break now before we start some stuff and then take a break in like 10 more minutes? And then we can talk about the JDBC stuff after the break, and then more about the final project, or about the final project at all. What do you folks think? There's only a couple of you here, so whoever wants to vote, totally up to you. It's your time. You vote for cheeseburger. It's a good vote. I would love a cheeseburger right now. I mean, just if we start, like, we'll get 10 minutes in and then we'll take a break again. So just if that's disruptive to you folks, we can break now. If you don't care, breaking 10 minutes in, that's perfectly fine. I'll wait till 7. All right. Oh, we'll get started then. We can wait till 7. So let's do this then. Let's see if we can do a little database backing of a program. So we already have our database, right? If I fire up XAMPP here, we have our school database. So that is going to be the easiest one for us to look at right now. So I do need to start up MySQL, right? And if I want to manage it, I'm going to start up Apache again to get PHP up and running for the PHP MyAdmin, right? Without Apache running, we can't admin this. Right? It's just nothing's going to work there. And I think we even put it on 5080, right? But so I'm actually going to start that one up, and we're on 5080, I think. I had to change that port, right? Let's see. Yep, 5080. So when I go to admin, change that port. I want to be able to look at that database table again. So we're going to do some basic examples for this. Now, for your final project, you do have the option. You can do it in JSP or you can do it in PHP. Either one is fine, whatever you folks prefer. And again, I do strongly recommend you pair up for it. You get a lot of skipping over the bad ideas, or a little easier, like someone else can catch a mistake quickly if you're paired with someone as you're kind of discussing your approach, and this is how I want to design it, and this is my plan for building out the application. Spending that time collaborating and discussing it's going to give you a better product. But again, with this remote pandemic learning, it's nuts, and I'm not going to require it. If we were in in-person class, we would be required to be pairs, but it's okay. And then, you know what, we do have a little bit less time, so if you folks want to trio up, I'm open to that as well. Because we didn't necessarily have all of last week to get started on this. What do you think? Will that work? All right, so let's take a look. Let maybe just do student. That's a nice, easy one, right? Take a look at the student table. So student has email address, ID, major, and name. All right, that was pretty cool. So we start up a new project. We'll do a Java web application. We'll do some Java database act example. Sure, why not? All right. So I'm going to add that Jstl library here. And we're going to add a package for Java database pack example. Because everything's better in a package. The default package is just kind of ugly usually. We'll add a new JSP, index.jsp. We'll get rid of the index.html. Don't want that nonsense. And then here we're going to add our servlet. Java database fact example. Add the information to WebXML. Yes, please. Really nice when all that just happens auto-magically for you. All right, and then we'll make sure we can hit those, right? So I should get the index servlet first, or the JSP first, right? That's my JSP page. And then the servlet here. Awesome. I can hit the servlet. That's just my quick sanity check. Make sure things are going okay for me. All right. Now to connect to a database in Java code. It's not terrible. Not too bad. So we're going to go take a look. I got to grab my example here. So it uses a connection class here. And usually I do this a little helper method inside the servlet. That's going to go get a connection. And we're going to import all of this java.sql stuff here. This is great. To load the driver, you tell it, class.forName, load the MySQL JDBC driver. For other database technologies, you have other drivers. This is just the one you're going to need for MySQL, right? There's one for SQL Server, there's one for Oracle, there's one for Postgres. There's, any major database product you can go connect to here. And this was college, or what do we call it here for our user? You can just look at our PHP one. I think I've got it here, right? Where's my server user accounts? College program. That's right, college program. So it's college program. This is test. And then import. So Java has a bunch of SQL classes already built in. We're going to take advantage of those, and we're going to use the driver that connects to MySQL. Now, this string here is the driver, JDBC MySQL, and then the URL and the port number. So by default, 3306, right? You can check your MySQL port, and then the database name here. Ours was called college. It's going to go create that connection, and we can return the connection for us to use. That way I can use this connection piece here anywhere I want. And I'm just going to say, hey, it's going to throw an exception if something bad happens. Bad stuff can happen, right? Not too big of a deal. We're not going to worry too much about it here, right? But then what we can do is we can go, instead of doing all this stuff here, right? I don't even need that block. We're going to have a try, and then we'll catch a SQL exception or a class not found exception. And if that happens, then we should probably just send them over to like some sort of error view, right? Maybe say, hey, we'll add a view for error and then some sort of message. We could add a new folder for views, and we could add a new JSP for the errors. And then we want to use the JSTL. Oh, no, where did it go here? This one here. There we go. Add our little JSTL. And then we can just real quick tell them what it is, right? So sure, here's the only complete your request, whatever the message is that was attached with this, right? So my servlet will set a message attribute to this thing happens. We'll just spit out the message at that error page. Oh, it's trying to remove it here. So on a connection equals get connection. let's get the connection, right? Go through and load. Again, this is bad form to hard code usernames and passwords. We don't really have the time to look at better ways of doing this, and there's a couple different ways of managing that where you can pull them out of config that's, you know, on a secured server, that sort of thing, but it's a little bit beyond the scope of the course, unfortunately. So we're doing the cheap way right now. This idea is if the password is in my code, then it's available lots of places, right? I mean, it needs to live on the server where the server is going to connect, but I don't want to be putting this everywhere. And source control is generally lots of people have access to your source code in an organization, and maybe not everyone should have that password. So again, we'll feel bad about it, but we don't really have that better way. Okay. All right, so we're going to get our connection, and then very similar to what we did in PHP land, we're just going to go and write a SQL query to go do this thing. So we're going to have a statement. Our statement equals connection.create statement. Okay, and then my statement can execute a query, we get back an object here. So let's import statement. So we're going to get a result set is what we get back here. That's our type. So the type is, here's the bunch of results you get, the result set. And we're going to get back, and we'll just call that results. Right, is going to be my statement.execute query. Execute query, and we're going to give it the query string. So for us, we're going to say select star from student. Right, the table I believe was student. Yep, student, so not plural. It's going to get all the columns, everything. We can add in our own where clauses. We can add in all sorts of good stuff here. But for now, we're just going to grab it all. And yeah, let's do an import. And then what I want to do is I'm going to add a class to represent student. We know student had an int for ID, student had a string for name, a private string for email address, and a private string for major. Right? And let's go insert some code. So we'll make a constructor that takes all of these. We'll make a no argument constructor. This 0 and empty strings. Right, and then we'll go add all the sets and gets. Insert our gets. And insert our sets. Okay, so now I can represent a student with name, email address, and major. Right, it should be the data I had here. Email address, major, name, and ID. Cool. I mean, they don't need to match exactly. Maybe it's probably better if they do, but I'm not going to feel too bad because typically Java does camel casing. We were doing the snake casing with underscores before. We got student. So I'm going to take this result set and I'm going to loop through it. Now, to see if I have results, I'm going to say while my results dot next. As long as there's something next, right? I'm going to have something. So I'll have an int for ID is my results dot, and now you can get here. So we get all these different values out based on what we want, and you can either get it by the column name or label or the index. I don't ever recommend you use index because indexes possibly could change if the database changes. Again, the column names could change, but that's usually a larger change that's going to happen behind the scenes. Like if someone just goes and adds a column to one of the tables and you're doing everything by index, it's going to get screwed up. So we want to get index by ID. That'll get the ID field. And then we'll have a string for name, results dot get string for name. And then we'll have a string for, what do we have, email address, results dot get string. Now this one here was going to be email address because that was the database column name for it here. And then string for major, result dot get string, the major. All right, and what we want to do is we want to have a list of students. I'm going to make an array list of type student. So students equals a new array list. And then I can take my students array list and I can add a new student, calling that student constructor, giving it all these fields, email address and major. Did I do that in the right order? Let's take a look at student. Name, email address, major. Right? Name, email address, major. Great. Looking good so far. Let's add our import for array list. So as long as it has a result, let's go get it. And then it's going to go check, hey, is there a next one? Right? Is there a next one? 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 When we're done, we need to close it. So we'll take the results.close, and we'll take our connection, and we'll close that as well. So close it out properly here. And then I can take my result request. I can set the attribute. I can call it students, and I can give it the students array list. Then I'm going to go, right, grab a URL, forward the request to the URL. So this will be students, and we'll go forward to that URL. So we'll go add a view to students, a JSP for students. Okay, we'll do a similar thing. This is student list. We're going to build a table. We have table row. We add a bunch of table headers for ID. No comment. Table header for name. Nope. Table header for email address and for major. I don't know why I keep wanting to add those. Name, email address, major. And again, if we're going to use that JSTL, we need to add that import line here. Add our tag library here. And then we can do our for each loop. I'm just going to go borrow that from our recipe here. So it's student in students. Right, so student.id, student.name, student.email address, and student.major. Okay, we'll end the for each, on the list, and let's see if that works for us. All right, again, we need to go to the servlet here. Oh, goodness. View error not found. What do I call it? Error? I call it errors. Oops, how about error? Try that again. All right, unable to complete your request. Unknown action. Please go back and try again. Unknown action. What is that? Is that what I said in my message? Unknown action? Oh, goodness. So we get some sort of exception happening here. Well, what's the exception? All right, so that's not all that helpful, actually. So let's take that exception instead. Exception.toString. Take the exception to string. So we can actually see class not found. The Mysql JDBC driver. Oh, that's right. I need to put that in there. Let's go Google that. I think the whole download? Recommended. I don't want an installer, do I? Oh, goodness. There's a way to add that. Oh, man. Just want the driver. I might even have it in my downloads, actually. Let me see. SQL, what's that? SQL, BC. JDBC. I'm searching my downloads here to see if I have it. Shoot. Let's see. thought I had it in here. Sorry, give me just a second. See if I can find it. Oh, goodness. Yeah, it should already be there, right? Where's a zip file? Don't want any of that nonsense. Did I add the whole jar to it? Oh, goodness. Mysql Connector jar. Do we have that library? We have that library. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's right. It probably already have the library for it. We have... That's a Postgre one. Postgres. I don't have the MySQL one. Thought it had it. That's a bummer. Where is that? Is it in this one? Yeah. Right, I guess we can download it. I want the whole MSI though. That's annoying. No, that's not what I want. Oh, those are right. Oh, there we go. It's out on GitHub here. Isn't that fancy? Alright, all we need is the jar. Alright, we'll go download it. Why is it an MSI? That is so weird. No, just start my download. Let's take a peek at this. See if we can open it up. Alright, let's see. Do we have that jar in here? No. Oh, man. Can't even do it. Alright, I'll just run it. I didn't want to run it, but that's okay. Yeah, sure. We probably even have the jar somewhere, don't we? We do have MySQL. I wonder if we have it in here. Never came with any jars. Search. Nope. Alright, it didn't. Alright, welcome back. I want the connector. Connector. Oh, I knew I had an older version. Okay. Alright, MySQL Connector. Your files. MySQL connector. There's the jar. All right. So that's the path I need to add. So we'll go to our project, add jar. That didn't work right, did it? Nope. That ought to do it. Okay, let me fix that. How did I screw that up? Yeah, not that. Remove. There's the jar. Okay. Now we'll see if we can run it. All right, where were we? One of these ones here. All right, now it loads. All of that headache, sorry, just to get that one. Do you want to put the download file out on D2L, or can you folks find that one? That was the connector here. I'll put that in the Discord for the class. Or actually, I can probably just put the whole jar there, right? Why not? I wonder if Discord will let me put a jar in there. Hey, it looks like it did. Cool. It's got a license, right? But this is for class purposes only, folks. Otherwise, you got to go download it yourself. All right, so again, very similar to what we were doing with our PHP side of things, right? We can execute queries, right? We get these result sets, and then we just want to build objects out of them, and then we can attach those objects to our requests. Right? We can set those attributes so that they can be got or accessed, right? Read over in the JSPs. So not so bad. I think PHP might have been a little bit cleaner looking, but with the Java side of things, you get the full power of writing fully featured Java classes, and you can do any sort of cool stuff you want to do with Java classes and not have to kind of do whatever you're fiddling with in PHP. Not that you can't build classes in PHP, but if you come from more of a programming side, the Java might feel a little more familiar with for you. We forgot to take a break, folks. You did not interrupt me. So why don't we break now, and then we'll come back in a little while, about 10 minutes, and we can look at other SQL examples. Again, it's going to be very similar. So most of that was looking at how we build out these connections, using the statements, these result sets, and we just keep on looping what we have next, getting the values out, and building our objects. That sound okay? All right, so when we take 10, throw some music back on here, and we can go from there. Hey folks, alright, welcome on back. Alright, so we'll do a couple more SQL examples here. Oh, Merlin wants to say hi. Merlin, say hi! Show everybody your paw. He's got these giant paws with an extra toe on it. He's so cool. He's special. Alright, kitty. He'll just be bothering me on my lap the whole time. It's okay. Merlin, Mark says hello. He seems indifferent, Mark, I'm sorry to tell you. But, you know, he's a cat, so probably don't expect anything other than indifference. Hi. Alright, awesome. So let's grab this one here. So if you want to do inserts or updates or this idea where we're building out the query string and doing the parameters, right, where we're going to like substitute things in like we did in PHP, which is the right way. You don't want to take string input and just jam it into your SQL query, because you're likely to run into, you're vulnerable to SQL injection attacks, where someone gives you bad input to try and get you to run bad things on your SQL server. There you go, Merlin. Where are you going now? I don't know where he thinks he's going, but... Alright, okay, yeah, sure. You want to go up there? I don't think so. So instead of using a regular statement, it's called a prepared statement. There's not room for you up there, Merlin. There's not room up there. So let's go and add, whoa, careful. Let's do a little check here and see if we want to add a student maybe. Let's come over to our student view. And let's do an add student. So we'll add a we'll submit form here, and again, I'm just going to copy paste because I hate forms. Sure. And we can tweak it as needed. This is going to go to, oh man, Java database fact example / Java database example, and we're going to post here, right? If we're changing data or submitting something, we want it to be a post, not a get here. And this will be add. So name, right? So not selects. Input type equals text. Name equals name. Goodness. I'm so sorry, friends. I hate these. Look at some of my views here. All right. Yeah. Cool. Add a little BR, and then nope. That's my input and a line break. No. Why does it keep wanting to do those comments? And I'll do a label for email address, and then one for major. Major, and then we're going to submit. We're going to add student. Hey, here. All right, cool. So we're going to post to the Java database fact example. And then in our servlet, now previously we were just using this process request, which the pre-generated code of do get and do post, we're doing the same thing. We're post with processor request and get with processor request. We can do different things. So if I want, my post handling can be different, and I can do the post thing first, which I probably want to do, right? So let's do that. So if I'm getting a post request, let's go do that thing. So we're going to try, I'm going to just grab all of this here in my post request. So I'm still going to process the request when I'm done, but I want to do this first. So we'll get the connection. We don't need the array list. We don't need students there. We're not going to have any results. We're just going to catch. And then when we're done, we're going to do the regular process request. So instead of create statements, it's create, oh my goodness, prepare a statement. Okay, so we're going to prepare our statement for use here. So usually I like to define it up above here. So we'll have a prepared SQL, and that's going to be, so we're going to insert into student. And remember, we give it the column names here because we're not giving it IDs. We're giving it name, giving it email, address, and we're giving it major. Right? And then the values are in parentheses, and we're just going to do this substitution mark here, right? The question marks we sub in, just like we were doing before. Did I miss something? Semicolon. So name, email address, and major, sub. I've got my statement, doing the prepared statement. Then I need to go get my values. Right, and maybe we even want to check this beforehand, before even try any of this, so we can check, get those values out. So we'll have a string for name, request.get parameter, given name. We'll do email address, and we'll do major. Address and major. Right, is that what we did in our, yep, email address and major, okay. And then if name does not equal null and email address does not equal null and major does not equal null, then I can go do this thing, right? Only if they're not null. Otherwise, we'll just ignore it, because maybe we could give them a different error or something like, hey, it didn't work, but I'm just going to pass it on because I don't want to worry too much about it here. Actually, that's fine. We can do this. Let's do that instead. So we'll add an else. We'll be nice here. We'll send them to the error page and say name, or I don't know, verify name, email, address, and major are filled in or something. Sure. I don't expect them to be null because we're still going to get probably empty strings out of it, but that's okay. I don't know, maybe we'll check and not name.equals an empty quote. There we go. We'll be even better here, right? It's not null and it equals something, and it's not null and it equals something. Okay. Else. Okay, I think that's better. So we got our variables here then, so then we can go insert them into our statement. So this is our, maybe we want to call it a prepared statement. Prepared statement, there we go. And we're going to set the value. So we're going to set string. Sorry, this is a prepared statement. That's not just a statement. Prepared statement. I'll add the import for that. So prepared statement dot set string. Now this goes by index. So which value are we inserting here? Right? And I believe it starts at 1, which is super weird. So name, email address, and major. Address and major. Okay, and we'll do those, and then in our case now it's not just execute, it's our prepared statement dot execute update. We want to do something. Execute update. There we go. It's going to issue the update, and then we're going to close them. Prepared statement dot close and connection dot close. Close. All right, so we're going to go add it, and then that's all we do, right? We catch any errors, we catch the if not there, and then we go back to the process request, which will do the list all of them for us automatically. So I don't need to redo any of that other work, which is cool. Let's give that a shot. Database backed example. The database backed example. All right, so let's add a new student. Oh, maybe we should clean that up just a little bit, right? Add a BR, and why does it want to always do that comment? So annoying, sorry. Should probably figure that out why, but that's okay. So add student. Did that format right? I didn't format right. All right. That'll be just a little prettier now. All right, so add students. So let's add, I'll add Jeb at gmail.com, major CIS. Uh-oh. Well, that's not right. Name, email address, and major. We didn't have the right values here. What happened? Let's see, what did we do wrong here? Name? Oh, I did quote name, quote email address, quote major, not the actual variables there. Name, email address, and major. That's funny. Index starts at 1 for reasons. I don't actually know why it starts at 1, but 1 is the first one. Unlike being zero-based like everything else in the world, right? That's weird. So let's go and actually delete that student here. I think we still have the PHP myadmin open, right? Let's go to students, because that was obviously not a great student. We'll delete Mr. Name. Okay. And we'll go back. Hit the page. That one's gone. Let's add Jeb again. Jeb at gmail.com, CIS. There we go. Email address and major. Looking good. And now, refreshing is still trying to post. That's unfortunate. It didn't, because I didn't redirect. I'm only forwarding. So maybe that's okay. I'm not too concerned there. But it would be nice if I could refresh and not have that happen. But that's okay. All right. That part makes sense. And updates would work the same way, right? You just do a prepared statement. You can run your updates, execute them, you're all good to go. Right. Anything else you want to see in terms of Java database connectivity? The JDBC stuff? Merlin, you want to see more? Yeah? You look interested. You can't quite see his paw. He's raising his paw up. Like he's raising his hand. He's so funny. Don't fall. Don't fall. All right, cool. You're good, Mark? Awesome. Yeah, there's only a couple folks around, so if you folks are good, then we're good to move on. So let's talk about the final project then. Back here to D2L. Get this one loaded up. It was on the assignments page. Goodness. So that is due August 19th. We're going to get together at 6 p.m. and present these. Final project. There we go. So that's 40 points total. Okay. Just a second. I got to get this description here. So what we're going to do is build our own version of an app that was in the news somewhat recently. We missed it. It was kind of fun because it was in the news cycle in the winter semester. We are building our own version of Parler or Twitter, and this was right when they got shut down. We're like, well, what would it take to build our own, right? After they got dumped from some of the major hosting platforms. So we looked at what it would take to write our own, and actually, it's the guts of it aren't too bad to write, which is kind of the fun part. A lot of their really nice features, and they do some really cool stuff. It's hard, right? But the basics of it is not the worst thing in the world. All right. So we're going to do a database-backed Twitter clone, Twitter/Parler, right? Parler, I think that's how they spell it. So we're going to allow users to create accounts and log in. Don't worry about being able to delete accounts. So someone will say, here's my name, here's my email address, here's a password, set it up. You don't actually need to send email addresses or emails to their email address to verify or anything. That's a nice thing to do, but you know that's okay. So no email verification is needed. Like they didn't just give you a username and password, and you'll say fine. It's all well and good. Right? They should be allowed to follow and unfollow people. See the list of newest tweets of those they follow on their homepage. So if they're logged in, right, and they go to their homepage, they're going to see the list of tweets of people they follow. Right? Their /username should be a page, then that'll show the list of tweets of that user and allow the logged in user to follow. If the username doesn't exist, give a generic error page. So like my project /Eric would give you the Eric name. Sorry, oh, I'm all itchy now because I'm Merlin. You're getting cat hair all over me. Okay? Or if you'd rather not use like the /, you're welcome to do that as a parameter as well. Doing the pathing is pretty cool. That's a nice way to go about it, but you know, it'll take just a quick little Google there to how do we get the path out after. Either way is okay. So /username or username equals, right? So if you want to give it as a parameter because that's easy, I'm fine with that. Right? Again, we don't need to necessarily do these slightly fancier things. Right? Find the nice path here. We're going to include the option to like or unlike a tweet. And we're going to include a count of likes when displaying tweets. So if you see a tweet, there should be a button to like it there, or to unlike the tweet, right? Unlike is just undoing your like, or you're also welcome to like do a thumbs down because everyone wants the thumbs down feature. You could do thumbs down instead of like, and you know, whatever fun you want to have with it there. When you create a tweet, we're going to include the option to upload images, and I'll show you the upload images part. We'll probably do that next week. We'll have some time for that for sure. It's not too bad. I'll show you in PHP and in JSP how we can just go throw an image in the database and then we can retrieve it. That works out pretty well. All right, that's the big pieces we want to hit. Right, so I can make tweets, I can see tweets, I can follow people. Right, I can go to their page, see that person's tweets. Right, or just whatever username search like that. Right, it'll show me their tweets, and I can follow that person or unfollow that person. So in terms of building out a database, right, and again, I know we haven't really had the database class as a prereq, so we want to go through this a little bit here. Right, you probably have this idea of an account. Right, account is going to have an ID, name, and a password for logging in, right? So, and you could just make a bunch of accounts, right? And then you're going to have probably have like a tweet table here, right? Tweet will have ID. It'll have the account ID, right? So who actually tweeted it, right? We'll have the, I don't know, text or something. And then I'll show you this image part later. Okay, we can do that part later. And then we can have a way to like a tweet, right? So we can, like liked tweets. Remember, because multiple people, many users can like many tweets, and a tweet can be liked by many accounts. And remember, you can't have many-to-many relationships here. So actually, let me move this over here. So this idea with if an account likes a tweet, you can like multiple tweets, and a tweet can be liked by multiple accounts. So with the many-to-many, we're going to solve that with the joining table. Right? So we'll go one-to-many on each of these here. So we'll do the ID. We'll do an account ID, and then we'll do the sorry, tweet ID. So this is the liked tweets. Liked. I'm sorry, they're not tweets. They're we have to call them something that's not copyright protected, right? So if you want to like one, we'll add an entry to this liked tweets for your account and the tweet that you liked. Right? If you want to unlike it, you just go delete it. It's gone. Right? You don't like that one. So to get a count of likes, you just need to go count how many entries are in this table for this given tweet. Twits. You're right. They should be twits. That's not a bad word, right? You're not going to get me in trouble, J-Rod? Liked twits. Feel like, I don't know. Probably fine. All right. All right. I hope not. There's a similar word. Yeah, okay, that's, yeah. Let's not go there. But sure, so we can like tweets this way, right? That works out pretty well. Now we're going to do a similar thing for follows. Now the problem with follows is that an account follows an account. So we just have follows here. Like one account can follow many accounts. Right? Sure, we could do that. So it would have an ID. Here, again, we just use those auto-generated IDs. That's easy. This is the account ID. ID. And, you know, this is a little awkward here, so it might be better than to be a little more clear here. We'll have a follower account ID. So the follower account ID is who is the follower. And then the account ID is who is followed, or the followed account ID and a follower account ID is probably even better, right? We can clear that up because we want to be nice and explicit and make this nice and clear. Followed account ID, right? So this will reference one follower and one followed account. And your account can have many of those, but they are both going to reference back over here with foreign keys. And that should be okay. Like, so we don't need like another join table. So if you want to follow someone, you add a row to the follow. If you want to unfollow, you just delete this row here. Right? So we'll see account has many tweets, then a tweet is related to one account. An account can follow many, right? But each follow is followed by one, or each instance of follow. That gets a little funny there, but we can see all of our relationships here. Okay. So the create an account that sets up username and password, then you have a login for that username and password. Follow and unfollow people, and then seeing the list of tweets for those people. So when they log in then, that homepage should say, okay, what's your account ID? Give me the list of people you follow, and give me all of the tweets of those people that you follow. Right? Oh, the twit probably also needs a date and time, right? We should do that. Date and time. That's going to be important, because we want to show the newest first. Forget those fancy algorithms that show you all sorts of other nonsense, right? We're just going to do newest first, because this is America, folks. You want the newest first. You don't want ads. You don't want stuff to show up just because there was other recent activity. You don't want me to tell you who your friends are. You want to see the newest first, right? So in terms of a database, it's not bad. It's just a couple tables here if you're doing this. And we can add in that image stuff after. I'll show you. Right, questions, thoughts on this? Is this worth trying to like save, or maybe can I like zoom out a little bit? and screenshot it? Is that even worth screenshotting? It might. I feel like it might be worth screenshotting. Zoom out one more time. And we could do it in an actual like tool. They make tools for this sort of thing. Oh, that was not right. Oh goodness. Try that again. It runs super slow and OBS is going to when I try and take screenshots. There it goes. So I'll throw that in the Discord as well. Example design. And again, I'm happy to do something a little cleaner if we need that, but hopefully we're following along and that makes sense. We'll zoom back in. That's probably better at 100%, right? Okay. Does that cover it then? So we can make accounts, we can log in, we can follow and unfollow people, we see the list of tweets, we get the tweets by that user, and we can follow people when we go to their page. Option for liking or undoing your like, and then the count of likes when we display the tweet as well. And then creating new tweets, including the upload image option. All right, so in terms of a rubric here, right, for our 40 points, so let's pull up our rubric. This is our final project. Is it raining? I'm just hearing noises. So it's either missing or complete. And let's do, we got 10 points, so not 19, 10 points here. So user account creation, login, 10 points. Right, just to be able to log in. If that's all you can do, sure. User's homepage lists tweets of those they follow, 10 points. Review individual user tweets and follow that user, 10 more points. And then creating tweets, including like account, creating tweets, including images, 10 points. All right, so just kind of break it up, each little portion of it there. Right, so if all you do is individual pages, right, you can still get the 10 points there. And the goal is that everybody gets all of this done. I want this to be a project that you're at least like halfway proud of, at least. Like, hey, I did a thing, and really, like, in one semester, I mean, the tail end of a semester, we're going to clone the core functionality of Twitter, essentially. You know, it won't be pretty, and it won't be super fast or anything, but that's okay. We're just looking at, this is what it takes here. You know, we're not scaling a global application or anything, but that's okay. That's a harder problem to solve. So creating the tweets, right? User account login, our homepage, right? That our timeline view, whatever we want to call that one, right? This overall score thing is so annoying. I complain about it every time, and I have not yet found a way to turn it off. All right, we'll attach the rubric. So again, I'll help you with some of this, the image upload portion. I'll give you some examples of how we can do that. So that should be relatively easy to plug in and drop in your project there. Oh, and you folks need a place to put that, don't you? Let me load up my classrooms here. I gotta get you a link. So can be done in either PHP or Java. Submit the URL to your feedback pull request, along with a self-assessment using the rubric. You are encouraged to work in pairs or even a trio for this, but you can do it individually if you want. All right, and you're going to submit just a URL here. There we go. And then you need that link. Give me 1 second to get that here. So this is CS 2454 summer 2021 final project. All right. There's the link for it. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? I know it's been quite the semester. I'm sorry it's not necessarily the summer it should have been, but appreciate you surviving it with us as we hopefully are getting to the tail end of this pandemic and looking towards a more normal fall if we can get there. We'll see. I think things slowed down a little bit with the vaccine drive, which is unfortunate, and now we're having other issues. But I'm hopeful, which is nice. And come fall, we'll probably be in person unless real bad stuff happens, or at least as an option, at least for my classes. So I can't speak to your other instructors. I'm sorry, but for mine, we'll be back in person optionally, and I'll keep doing the Switch thing because I think it's kind of fun. That way you can be in person live, you can be online live, or you can just watch the recordings if that's your preferred style. All right. Anything else then for tonight? Are we feeling okay? I'm just curious, do you folks have a thought if you want to use PHP or Java? One way or the other? I think almost everybody except for one did PHP in the winter. And I don't know if that's just because we did PHP first, or I don't actually know. Okay. Yeah, someone was like, oh, I love Java. I'm really glad I have the option for Java because they were much more familiar with Java. And the PHP stuff was a little funky, so cool. Yeah. I mean, we teach Java if you're doing the programming courses here. So, and once we got the JSTL, life was so much easier in Java. Being able to use the JSTL, and you can do these nice little loops and things. You don't even have to do the code inside. Like this syntax here is just so pretty. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. That'll be fun to see. All right. So the plan is in 3 weeks from tonight. Then we'll get together and we'll present. You folks can all take turns on Zoom doing screen shares. Show me your Parler, Twitter clone, whatever you want to call it here. Show us your twits. However that works. And, you can just go through each one of these rubric items and say, okay, here's how you log in, make an account. Here's how you go to one user's page to see their tweets. You can follow them. Here's how you go to your homepage. And here's how you make a new tweet. You do those things during the demo, right? Those couple things, and you'll get your 40 points like that, which is also the nice thing. So it will be done and graded by the time we're done that night for the final project. If you can't make it live, because, again, it has been synchronous optional, I need you to arrange with me a time where you can present the project. Okay? That's the goal. All right, folks. It's been fun. Let's go raid out somewhere. See who else is around on Twitch, and we'll have some fun. Folks, take care. Please let me know how I can help. Again, the goal is everyone is successful in this, right? I want everyone to have a product that they're proud of. When it comes to interviews, like most people are going to have a very similar degree, and most fresh college grads are really not going to have a lot of experience. So what we look for when we interview people is, well, can you talk about a project intelligibly? Like, this is what I did. This is the design work I put into it. This is this is what made it interesting for me, and actually be able to give a talk about a project that you were really proud of would be really cool. All right, let's see who's around. Rob's away. AWS is on. Ooh, we could do you want to do woodcrafting or Dungeons and Dragons or psychology with Site Queen or who else did I just see? Rocketology. Did I already say rockets? You can head over somewhere. We'll head over to Site Queen's channel. Learning more about psychology and human interaction is super important. I think that's definitely one of the things you get being a college-educated student rather than just a boot camp person. You get a little bit more of that general, broad-based liberal arts education to hopefully understand how people think better. So we'll head over there and say hi. You folks take care.